This time, I'd like to discuss Israel's military operations as seen from the perspective of China or the Chinese diaspora. The relationship between Israel and China is complex, having both an A side and a B side, much like China's relationships with other countries. While China often outwardly expresses its ideological differences with other nations, particularly through communism's incompatibility with other systems, it maintains close ties in economic realms. This creates a contrast between public statements and actual practices, what we can call the A side and B side of China's relations. A clear example is China-US relations, where there's a popular saying in China, anti-Americanism is work, but living in America is life. This expression can sometimes be adapted to say, anti-Americanism is work, but America is real life, and patriotism is a job. In essence, while people outwardly criticize the US, many still aspire to live there, and some never return to China. There are even critics of the US who live in America, producing anti-American content for audiences in China. This duality appears in state-level relations too. For example, while the Chinese Communist Party may criticize the US as an imperialist power, China still engages in significant trade with it. And the same pattern is evident with Japan. While China criticizes Japan politically, they continue their business relations. The relationship between China and Israel shares this duality as well. Ideologically, Israel and China are sometimes at odds. For instance, Israel sees Iran as a hostile nation, since groups attacking Israel, like Hezbollah, are backed by Iran. China, however, supports Palestine under the pretense of aiding liberation movements, even providing weapons at times. Despite these ideological differences, China is Israel's second-largest trading partner, and interestingly, China is also Iran's largest trade partner. This means China has close economic ties with both adversaries, Israel and Iran. China's approach here is part of a broader pattern, balancing public criticism with economic engagement. This has implications for its military strategy as well. Recently, Chinese officials have observed Israel's tactics, where it targets the leadership of hostile groups to destabilize them rather than engaging with their soldiers. This strategy raises concerns among China's top officials about being similarly targeted in any potential conflict, especially with the US, prompting them to reconsider their intelligence and security protocols. At the same time, the US may selectively reveal parts of its intelligence capabilities to China to create an environment of uncertainty, fostering a deterrent effect. For example, by hinting at its knowledge of Chinese military secrets, the US might make China wary of engaging in direct conflict. In conclusion, while conflicts are currently escalating in places like Ukraine, Israel, and potentially the Taiwan Strait, the US seems to be using information warfare as a strategic deterrent to prevent escalation with China. This approach is worth observing, and I personally believe it's effective. What are your thoughts? Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next discussion.